Hello fellow FPL managers and welcome to this preview of, and sorry for it being late, Game Week 29. And the reason why is that I wanted this video out yesterday, but because it's a quick turnaround and I've got a couple of days off work, I've been having to do some family stuff. I did organize to do this yesterday, but I didn't have time to quite record it. So going through my team, breezing because of my loss of hope of this season, just tumbling down. I basically, doubled my game rank in the last 4 weeks. I'm now like 1.1 million. And I still got less than average. And again, it was just Wolves basically tearing me apart. I brought them in. They were on a good run of form, top 10 side, good run of fixtures, and they're just not delivering. Going through the team then, so have a look at the results. Wolves getting beat by Huddersfield, giving them a precious win. But the fact that not even getting a goal, no attacking returns, awful. Leicester, again, actually pulled through for me. Vardy getting on the score sheet, getting 7 points for me there. Liverpool, Mane in the side, didn't captain, go for Salah. Liverpool scores 5 goals. You expect to see Salah doing something. No, he got a clean sheet bonus and that was it. Hazard, Chelsea won 2-0 against Spurs. Great result. He gets hauled off, returns nothing. Pogba still in good form. Rashford came on as a late sub. I knew he was having a knock. He was. We'll look at my review, but that's why I said avoid him, because he was struggling against Liverpool. And Bednarik getting a clean sheet coming on there, which was pretty nice. So on the whole, it was basically the fact that Wolves are letting me down. I'm going to have to really assess that and whether or not they should really stay in my side, because at the minute, they're not doing anything for me. And with Patricio apparently getting dropped for the Cardiff game today, has almost just sort of certainly done it with the fact that Wolves are just letting me down. He doesn't get a clean sheet, Patricio. Johnny's doing nothing for me, and Jota's done absolutely diddly squat since he's coming to the side. So I will be looking at my Wolves assets. So looking at my team for the week, I'm still debating my captaincy because I'm looking at Salah, and I always feel that if I don't captain Salah, I'm at a huge disadvantage if he does return something. But Pogba is at home to Southampton, Hazard away at Fulham, but is Hazard going to get dragged off again? And the amount of times that Hazard has failed to return against supposedly weaker sides, especially the fact that Ranieri's just been sacked at Fulham. I'm always a little bit, I like having Hazard in my side. I've stuck by him, but giving him the captain's armband is a little bit tough. But or do I just go for Wolves? They've let me down week in, week out. They're at home to Cardiff. You may be looking at, Jota's going to be up front. Is he going to get something? Or are they going to be just too difficult to break down and they grind sort of a 0-0, or maybe Wolves will win 1-0 with a randomer scoring? So I'm still looking at who to captain. That'll be decided before the deadline. And Wan-Bissaka's back from injury, which is good. So you can see they're away to Burnley, but I still think I'm going to stick. I'm still tempted to stick with the backline that I've got now, but that's basically it for my team this week. I don't really need to focus too much on my team because at the minute it just feels like a little bit of a lost cause, being really let down by a couple of strange results. Salah not pulling his weight for the last few weeks, and Wolves mainly just being the team to let me down. So moving on to my review of the predictions for Game Week 28, and you can see that again I seem to nail the players to avoid, and that's because basically a lot of the time they're in my side. So players to avoid, I said Man City, tired, fatigued, didn't know who's going to play, and they only beat West Ham 1-0. So for me, I'm always going to say avoid Manchester City outfield players, but the fact that rotation was even at a higher risk considering they did the League Cup final for 120 minutes. And you can see they were a little bit tired. It was an easy enough win against West Ham, but still just 1-0, didn't really come back. Rashford, I said behind me, was limping, didn't think he was going to start. I'm actually genuinely surprised he came on at all in United's game for the last sort of 15 minutes or so, but he did. He came on for 1 point for me, and I'm sure a lot of you guys. But yeah, he was a one to avoid because I didn't think he was going to play. And the same for Kepa, and he was dropped. He has been dropped, and we still don't know if he's going to return to the side following that fiasco at the League Cup final when he sort of refused to be substituted. And even though Sarri was like, oh, it's just a misunderstanding, and Kepa was like, it's just a misunderstanding, I was like, he still got dropped. So something's still not right there. Not sure if he's going to come back to the side. Aubameyang played to pick of the week, and he did get a goal. Salah, Liverpool, I mentioned this earlier, a great win, a really big comeback. I said, I don't want to be the side to go to Anfield after them not taking advantage away to Manchester United. And pretty much everyone did really well, except Salah. So unfortunately, I mean, I had Mane, which is great, but he was playing more central with Firmino being out injured. So Mane got 2 goals. Maybe he's going to start there against Everton. I'm not too sure. So that's going to be it for Liverpool. And then Vardy, I brought him into my side. I stuck by the Englishman, and he pulled through. He got a goal against Brighton, and with Brendan Rodgers in, I'm going to stick with the Leicester train. They don't have any blank game weeks, and I think Pereira and Vardy are a pretty good shout. People are going to maybe be thinking about Maddison, but I'm going to wait to see 1 or 2 games what Brendan Rodgers is going to do. I don't know what formation he's going to play, if he's going to really go out attacking or bring it a bit defensive, but I'm pretty sure Pereira and Vardy are going to be involved in his plans. So I'm not going to bring in any more Leicester assets yet until I know exactly maybe where Brendan Rodgers is going to go. Players to risk, I was completely out this week, completely wrong on all 3 accounts. Jota let me down away at Huddersfield. If you'd have told me that Wolves wouldn't score against Huddersfield and also get beaten 1-0, I think they were favourites to win that Wolves, and they've let a lot of people down. I think there. Mitrovic as well, nothing there, beaten, blank, and the same for Barnes, doing nothing there as well. But I am still thinking that they're going to do something this game week. So looking at my predictions for this game week, you can see Aguero, my play to avoid. And I had this before the news came out about Gabriel Jesus being fit. So Jesus is back fully fit, apparently, according to Pep. So take that with a pinch of salt. But I'm going to have Aguero with the fact that he did say he's exhausted. He did 85 minutes in the week against West Ham. He did 120 minutes in the League Cup final. He's got to be running on fumes. You sort of, if you're an Aguero owner, you really want him to play, but you're kind of looking at it thinking, even with Pep's rotation, I was surprised that he's played so much in 1 week, but now with Jesus back, apparently fully fit as well, I would be surprised if he is going to get 9. He could do the whole play 50 minutes, get brought off, but I would be surprised if Jesus is apparently fit, fully fit, back in action. I would suggest Jesus is going to start, and maybe Aguero comes on right at the end, but he does need a rest. And play to avoid, it was actually, I felt it was really tough this week. So I just put relegation candidates, because looking at Spurs Arsenal, I think any team could score or win that. I think Aubameyang could take advantage of Spurs' weak defense and the fact they're in a poor run of form. You know, I'm not going to go against the likes of Harry Kane, who I'm actually going to recommend, or Heung-min Son, because I think Arsenal's defense is pretty shaky as well. So I didn't want to be a cop-out and just say, like Arsenal's defence or anything like that, because I think that's a little bit obvious. But relegation candidates, I think they've all got tough games. I think the strong teams have got easier games, apart from Liverpool, Everton. But it feels like your Huddersfield, your Cardiff, your Southampton, I think they've got really tough fixtures. So I'd just steer clear and put them far on your bench if that's what you're sorting out. But I think it was really difficult to choose any sort of players to avoid this week. Looking at my play to pick, I'm going to go Pogba, and that's why I'm sort of tempted to put him as my captain. Again, we know the run of form Manchester United's in. We know the good run of form that Rashford and Pogba are in. But being at home Southampton, even though I believe the fact is Southampton have only lost once at Old Trafford since Sir Alex Ferguson has retired, but I don't, with the rich vein of form United are in right now, and the fact that Pogba is banned for the PSG Champions League tie, so I think he will play 90 minutes against Southampton. You thought, maybe he would get rested with PSG coming up and United are down in that from the first leg. You would have thought he might get rested, but the fact that Pogba's definitely going to miss that game says that he's pretty much one of the only players that will get 90 minutes. Hazard as a player to pick is away at Fulham. He got brought off, he's rested a little bit, but is he carrying a knock? I'm not too sure, but again, player to pick, but I wouldn't put the captain's armband on him because he seems to fail a lot against the weaker sides, but he is still in my consideration. And Harry Kane, he's got a really good record against scoring against Arsenal, and even though he's supposedly an Arsenal fan, I believe it's something like 6 goals in 7 games, and he's got a really good record against Arsenal. And with Arsenal's shaky defence, and Spurs need to come back with a win. I'd be surprised if Kane doesn't do something in this game. Spurs, if they want to finish top 4, they need to beat Arsenal at home, and they've lost the last 2 games. They need to turn it around, and I think Harry Kane is definitely that sort of player to sort of get the bit between his teeth and help Spurs out in this situation. So he's my 3rd player to pick. Play to risk, I'm sticking with 2 of the 3 from last week who let me down. We got Jota at home to Cardiff. If he doesn't do anything, I brought him in just after he did that superb hat-trick because he got pushed up front with Jimenez, and it's 6 million. He was also almost a no-brainer with the form that Wolves were in. They're a top 10 side, and it's a 6 million midfielder playing striker, and he's done nout. He's done naff all for me since he's coming to the side, and if he can't do it against Cardiff, then I've got to change something around in the side. Barnes as well. Burnley at home to Palace. I know Wan-Bissaka's back now, but again, they're still wanting to stay clear of relegation. Barnes has been in pretty good form, and at home as well, he seems to be in a better vein of form, so I'm going to stick with Barnes. And then Murray, because Brighton are at home to Huddersfield, and I think it's difficult to not recommend a team, even though they just won 1-0 in the last game. I do feel that any player, striker that's quite cheap, not many people own them, playing at home against Huddersfield, I would be surprised if there's 0 returns, basically. So that's it for this week's video. It might have felt a little bit faster, but I'm looking at the time and I think it's around the same time. But yeah, it's a quick turnaround. I would have loved to have spent more time talking more in depth about some of the points or talking about my side and the change I want to make, but unfortunately with it being a sort of midweek to weekend fixtures, I don't have that early turnaround. So hope you still enjoyed it and still can look at the bits of suggestions that I've made. Like I said, on my predictions I seem to do all right, especially for people to avoid and even the ones to pick. Risk is always difficult. I'm looking for a differential. I'm looking for a diamond in the rough for that week, but I'm so disheartened by my own performance that in the last 3 game weeks I've tumbled from 600k to almost 1.2k, and it's just Wolves doing me in, Wolves, and just the results. Some of them have been really strange, or my teams are getting the results. I'm picking the right teams, I'm picking the right results, I'm just not picking the right players, and that's really making me suffer. But I'm sure you guys have had your ups and downs this season, so maybe let me know in the comments below. Help me. What would you suggest for my side? So going back to look at my team, I did make 1 transfer. It's Alexander-Arnold in, which I wanted to bring him back inside anyway. A week too late. I'd already made the transfer before the game because I do my transfers early, and the fact that he's just pulled out 18 points, I was just too late. But he came in for Smith, Adam Smith, who was a terrible signing for me from Bournemouth. But I'm looking at this side. I've still got some money in the bank, I believe. Just 0.6 in the bank. Maybe change out Jota. I do think I do want to get Boruc in before long. He's 4. He was 3.9, but he's currently Bournemouth's #1 goalkeeper. So getting him in for Button at some point, but that's not pressing right now. But I'm thinking Johnny and Jota are possibly got to go. And I think, yeah, it's tough. Tough talking about my own team because it's been letting me down a lot of late. So that's it for this video, guys. Good luck this weekend, and as always, have a